Jay Johnson is an international success story in the art of ventriloquism, highly respected in the land of sitcom, stage performance, the acting world, and the art of ventriloquism. He was certainly on my top 10 list of greatest ventriloquists of all time, so you can imagine how happy I am to have him guest on my podcast. Jay has been seen on TV dramas such as an episode of Mrs. Columbo, The Love Boat, Gimme a Break, Simon and Simon, The Facts of Life, Empty Nest, reuniting him with his father from soap, Richard Mulligan, and Dave's World. Jay starred in Broken Badges in 1990, a Stephen Cannell CBS television production in which he played Stanley Jones, a depressed police officer who was also a ventriloquist. In 1999, he reprised his role of Chuck and Bob Campbell in an episode of That 70s Show. Post-2000 appearances include the 2001 TV movie What's Up, Peter Fuddy, an appearance on Reno 9/11, and the role of Christopher Davis, biological father of the miniature killer, Natalie Davis, in the CSI episode Living Dull. As well as his role on soap, Jay Johnson has also appeared as a celebrity guest on many game shows and hosted his own 2 TV series, such as So You Think You Got Troubles in 1983 and Celebrity Charades in 1979. The following comes from the world of the web. I just want to read out that Success, his award-winning theatrical piece, has rightly so been awarded. Jay Johnson, The Two and Only, written and performed by Jay Johnson, opened on Broadway to rave reviews at the Helen Hayes Theatre on September the 28th, 2006. This was preceded by an acclaimed off-Broadway run at the Atlantic Theatre Company in New York. The show also performed at the Zero Arrow Theatre, Cambridge, Massachusetts, and the Brentwood and Colony Theatre in Los Angeles, California. The Cambridge performance garnered the New England Critics Award, and in Los Angeles, Johnson received the 2006 Ovation Award for Best Solo Performance. The show deconstructs and demonstrates Johnson's lifelong obsession with the art of ventriloquism. The show is a valentine, not only to the art, but also to his mentor and friend, Arthur Sieving, who created Johnson's first professional puppet. The show is aided and abetted by a cast of ventriloquated characters, including his soap alter ego Bob. Johnson won the 2007 Tony Award for Best Theatrical Event for the show. He's the only ventriloquist to ever be nominated and win an American Theatre Wing Tony Award or an Ovation Award. The show was filmed on September 15, 2012 in Taylan Hall, Wilmington, North Carolina. Jay enlisted film and stage director Brian W. Simon to direct the film adaptation of the performance. Jay first met Simon in 2009 when he starred in the comedy documentary I'm No Dummy, directed by Brian W. Simon. The original Bob puppet featured on soap was inducted into the Smithsonian Institute's collection of pop culture icons in May 2007. He currently uses a replica Bob for Jay Johnson, The Two and Only. Welcome to Eyes and Teeth, Jay Johnson. Today I'm excited to welcome to Eyes and Teeth from stage, television, Hollywood and The Two and Only on Broadway, the one and only Jay Johnson. Welcome to Eyes and Teeth, sir.
Hey, Steve. Now, explain to me Eyes and Teeth. Is that a showbiz reference of how
It
all
is.
perform?
I don't know if you heard of Keith Harris, the ventriloquist.
Sure.
Sure. Keith was one of my sort of helpers when I started out. We lost Keith about 6 years ago, but he would text Eyes and Teeth at the end of his text messages. And Eyes and Teeth really is smile. Eyes and Teeth, Keith. Smile in the eyes, smile in the teeth. So I called it that. I named it after that, which had a bit of a meaning to it, which is, and you'll realize with me, Jay, that it's my whole life is ventriloquist based, and so to be talking to you today is a dream. Thank you so much for being here. It's
absolutely my pleasure. It's nice to see your face so far away. Actually, it's amazing.
Yes, I'm in Eastbourne and you're in LA, so it's a bit of a distance. But I just want to tell you quickly how I first come across you when I was 12 years old, and so I was watching soap late at night.
Hi guys. Hey, Bob and I have been working on a new act. We thought you might like to see it.
Oh, fellas, please, we're not really in the mood now.
I just kind of needed the practice. I thought maybe it might break the tension around here.
The trick is I read minds.
Oh, come on.
No, it's true. I do. Come on, Chuck. Do your stuff.
Okay, yeah. All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Ready?
Okay. Danny, take hold it up in front of Bob.
It's, round. It's, glass. It's an ashtray.
He's peeking. He's got to be peeking in there.
I can't see a thing. I swear.
All right, wait a minute. All right. What's that?
Okay, I got it. It's red. It's round. It's an apple. This is amazing.
Do you know what kind of a gold mine we got here?
Bert, Chuck can see what you're holding up.
But Bob can't.
Daniel, did you get it?
No.
How'd you do it?
Oh, he can't tell.
Oh, come on, tell me.
No,
Tell me.
Hey, that's my
Tell me. Is there a trick involved?
Soap was actually on in the late 80s for me at 1 o'clock in the morning. So
Yeah.
we weren't allowed to watch that sort of thing. You know, it's quite cheeky, but I would wait for my whole family to go to sleep, my brothers and sisters, my mum and dad, and they still don't know to this day that I would sneak down at the stairs to watch the only TV in our house, and I would watch Soap every week, once a week, every week on my own, and I just
That's
waited.
great.
I waited for you
great.
to come on, and when they didn't feature you as much in the episode, I was so disappointed because I'd waited up. But
Me
but-
too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For
I'm
a
sure.
different reason, but I was
Yes,
always
of
upset
course.
as well.
But it was so good to see you do your thing, and I discovered you. You're probably the third ventriloquist that I saw on TV after becoming interested. It was wonderful. I don't know if you know of a program called Victorious now. Actually, you had
Yes, yes.
Ariana Grande, and they featured a ventriloquist, and it's a kind of sitcom for teenagers, and
Yes.
it must be inspired by Soap and yourself.
Well, it definitely was. As a matter of fact, for a brief moment, I was, what do they call it? A consultant on that show. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And it was specifically for the kid. He was an actor, knew nothing about ventriloquism, and they dubbed the voice. I think it was his acting coach that did the voice, but he really didn't know how to work a puppet or what it was about. So I gave him a few lessons.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. That's great to know. And so he was Robbie Shapiro, and he played a ventriloquist, seemed to be
Yes.
unable to admit that Rex is a puppet for reasons yet to be known. And they sort of said he is a sort of a multiple personality disorder, really, which is
That's what we get. That's what we get most of the time, isn't it?
it's a shame,
Always.
isn't it? Yeah, but we get
Yeah, well.
paid. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. The real lunatics have nothing to rely on, right?
Of course. So I just shortly after Soap was on, you came over to the UK and you did this TV show that I watched, and it was hosted by a comedian called Jim Davidson called Wednesday at 8. So
yes.
it ran for 6 weeks, but every 2 weeks they would feature a ventriloquist. We had Ron Lucas. The second week was David Strussman, and then the third week was yourself. And again, you blew me away because you were doing your thing, and the Jay Johnson, as we now know him, doing your act.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jay. How are you, Bonoba? Oh, good. It's nice to be here. And it certainly is. I have the relatives here, though. Yes. My sister is in the orchestra. I did not know that. Yeah, what is her instrument? Yeah, cello. She plays the cello. She is the cello. I see. Yeah. I was going to be a violin. I wasn't cut out for it. Yeah. But anyway, you like it? This is a nice theater, isn't it? Yes, it is. I like it. Yeah. Can you dig it? Yeah. Yeah. No, you can't say yeah. I just did. I know you did. You can't say that. No, see, that's incorrect English. Yeah, and we're here where they speak it correctly. Yeah, see. So when I say can you dig it? Yeah, that is the second person singular, the verb to dig. Yeah, and you have to respond with first person singular, which is I can dig it. I don't think that I could say that. I think that you could. Yeah, I will teach you how. Yeah. I say can you dig it? You go I can dig it. That's it. You say that, you will be grammatically correct. Well, I do so want the yeah, no, they can put it in. Dig it, oh, come on, now, I can dig it, you got it. No, okay, now, look, if you're going to talk to me, yeah, you can't say I can dig it. Can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, that would be incorrect. You would have to say you can dig it. Oh, I see. Yeah, because in that case, I would be the second person, you would be the first person. I got it so far. Okay, yeah, now, if you're trying to talk about somebody else, that is third person singular. No. Yes, yes, and you have to use he if it's a guy, she if it's a girl, and it if you're not sure. Got a lot of those here. That's true. Now, if you're going to say all of us, that is the plural form of the verb to dig. It is, yes. No, yes. And what you have to do is you have to use the plural form, which is first person plural would be we can dig it. Yeah. And that's all of us. But if we're not included, no, and sometimes we're not. That's right. Then it would be third person plural. That would be they can dig it. Okay. Again, so to conjugate the verb correctly, yes, it would be I can dig it, you can dig it, she can dig it, they can dig it, he can dig it, you can dig it, I can dig it, we can dig it, they can dig it, he can dig it, you can dig it, she can dig it. I have dug. Past tense. Perfect. The heck with that? No, you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. Just try. I can dig it. Okay, I'll try. You can do it. Yes. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's just sawdust. Don't care what it is. Yeah, don't do that. No. I can dig it. Right. You can dig it. Right. They can dig it. She can dig it. We can dig it. He can dig it. You can dig it. I can dig it. They can dig it. She can dig it. We can dig it. I got it. You got it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now we get to the hard part. You're kidding. No. I'll say the pronoun, and you finish it up with correct phrase. What is it? Sesame Street? No, it's not. No, just follow me. No, it's very easy. I will say the pronoun. Okay. Okay. All right. Then we'll start it easy so nobody gets lost, especially you. Here we go. Let's start easy. I can dig it. That's it. You got that. Try this one. You can dig it. Right. They can dig it. We can dig it. She can dig it. They can dig it. We can dig it. He can dig it. You can dig it. They can dig it. She can dig it. We can dig it. They can dig it. He can dig it. She can dig it. We can dig it. They can dig it. She can dig it. Hold it.
Not only your technique, but every routine, you smash it with just pure technique and the way you put across your routines. I mean, you must have studied and rehearsed. Were you really into your dedication of sort of studying your ventriloquist act?
Yeah, I think I was. I don't hide the fact that I'm dyslexic, and on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe not a 10, but probably a 7. And that caused me a lot of problems in school and learning. And I think I was in high school before they'd even had the term dyslexia. Before that, it was just various learning challenges. So ventriloquism is not something you have to write down, don't have to do math. You don't have to do all the things that I was not good at. So I put all the things that I might be doing, aside to do the one thing I thought I excelled at. So, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. What is it about Texas-born ventriloquists? I mean, there's quite a few ventriloquists from Texas, right? With Ron Lucas,
yes.
Yeah, Jeff Dunham,
Terry Fady, Jeff Dunham, yeah. And way back when she was really not known as a ventriloquist as much as an actress. And as I'm saying this, Elisa Wetchell was her name, and she was on Facts of Life. Do you remember that show? Before your time, yeah. But she was a ventriloquist and from Texas as well. So, I have a theory about it. I can't prove this theory. I also am very fascinated by linguistics and accents and the human voice and all those things. And it seems to me that the placement for ventriloquism optimally is very connected to a Texas accent, which is very nasal. So I am thinking more it's about the accent of that area of the country that just gives you a placement already. So then you can grow on that. You don't have to learn the placement because it's all up in your front anyway. Yeah.
It's in the accent. So, but this is literally the ventriloquists we mentioned. They're 5 of the greatest ventriloquists of all time. I mean, literally, it just you can't get better. So it must be something in the water, in the Texan water.
Sammy King is also, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, Sammy King ventriloquist. Yeah.
Sammy too.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of, because it certainly wasn't because Dallas has odd water or Texas has strange theatrical programs. We just just happened to be there. Jeff and I actually went to the same high school. We were not just from the same city or same state. We actually went to the same high school, not at the same time, of course. Yes. But he was many years behind me. But yeah, odd that 2 ventriloquists would have been Richardson High School.
Wow, that's strange. That's incredible to know that, actually. Can you tell me briefly the story of leading up to Soap? So were you a ventriloquist doing sort of benefit concerts and things and comedy clubs, or How did it start for you before soap?
Yeah, the comedy clubs weren't happening until the 80s, really. There were nightclubs and there were supper clubs, and I did a few of those. I started doing theme park shows. Like over here, we've got Six Flags over Texas, Six Flags over Georgia, Six Flags and Disneyland and all those places where we perform multiple shows a day, all day long. And in high school, I got a job doing that at Six Flags over Texas. So I was doing a lot of stuff. I did a little local television show when I was in high school. I did commercials. And I got into a show that was called Charlie's Place. And it was more of a place than it was a show, but it was like a dinner theater. And we did variety shows. And so my wife and I came, I was married at that time, and we performed in that show for a long time. And a manager came through town and said he liked what I did. And if I ever wanted to get to LA, just let him know. And he would love to represent me. So my wife had lived out here and she had already knew what it was about. So we moved out on the strength of that. And so I was just cutting my teeth in LA. I was working at a place called The Horn and going around doing all the auditions, doing a couple of talk shows here and there. And some friends said there's an open call for ventriloquists in Variety magazine or newspaper at the time.
Perfect.
And I thought, well, that's really great. But the actual ad said must be available for a television series. Couldn't just be, which I thought was odd. And technically, I had already signed with a company to be their trademark. I'd created a character that was like their character, and I was going to travel around with a character named Farmer Frogurt because it was frozen yogurt and he was Frogurt.
Okay.
So I really didn't think I was available, because they were going to pay me a lot of money to do that, and that was pretty good. But I auditioned and got the part, and really open call, just all the way up. And so I called the company and I said, look, here's the deal. I don't know if the show's going to work. I don't know if it's going to happen, but if you let me just do the first 7 that they've contracted me to do, then I'll be more valuable to you after that show than I was before. And they said, yeah, do it. And then we got picked up and they said, well, yeah, do the year. And by the time I got ready to fulfill that contract, they said, we're going to buy you out because frozen yogurt isn't doing what we thought it would, So actually, yeah.
It worked out that way.
It worked out perfectly. We had created these 2 characters. I had actually designed them and we had them made to look like their mascot, their trademark. There were 2 of them in case something happened to them. And they said, well, since we paid for those puppets, we want the puppets back. And I said, absolutely. So they stayed at the Hood Dairy Company for, I don't know, maybe 5 years, maybe even more. But I am on tour with Shields and Yarnell. Do you remember the pantomime troupe? They were American. Shields and Yarnell, they did robots and they were really hot for a while. So I was opening for them, going around the country. And Robert loved puppets and loved magic and loved ventriloquism. And he said, whatever happened to those puppets? And I said, so he said, you call them and buy them back. And matter of fact, I'll buy one of them from you. And then it'll only cost half as much. And that's what we did. So I got Farmer Kroger back after they sitting in a warehouse,
Yeah, with all the others.
Yeah, with all the others. That's right. Perhaps there were. I should have looked in their warehouse.
Yes.
Ice and Teeth.
And this is the result now. I've had this for 30 years. This
look at that.
VHS video.
Man.
The best of soap. And I've watched it over and over. And it's just such a great cast to work with. Did you stay in touch with any of your cast members? Because it was just such a great family. I loved your auntie, your mum and dad in it. It was great cast.
Everybody was great. The only one I really kept in touch with on a regular basis was the man who played Chester Tate, Robert Mandan.
Okay.
We had the same management company for a while and then kind of got thrown together. He had the same publicist. So I would see him a lot. Unfortunately, we've lost him in the last 3 or 4 years, but we kept in touch. I occasionally said Ted Wass, my brother. I rarely see Billy Crystal. I don't even know if he's living on this coast or what coast. And if I run into anybody, it'd be great. But the only ones that are left really are the young kids that, Billy and Ted and me and Diana Manoff, and we're all not kids anymore. So the rest of them passed on. So yeah, a unique little club, that one.
Oh, bless, it must have been. It's when soap ended. How long did it run for, Jay? Was it
4 years? 4 years, which is 90. 98 shows, I think. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Far more than 7 that you signed up for. So.
Oh gosh, yeah. This is a weird story. I hope I can condense it enough to make it what it is. But I worked for a man just before soap came on the air, and it was an organization. And the manager who brought me out, I was still with him at the time. He said, "Now I don't want any jokes. These are the boys, if you know what I mean. These are the guys, and so you're not going to get paid. You're going to do the show with Frankie Avalon, and you're going to be with Andy Griffith, and you're going to know this big show, but nobody's getting paid. But just keep your mouth shut and your eyes open." Well, it was the mob. It was absolutely the Italian-American Civil Rights League banquet honoring Russell Buffalino. And Russell Buffalino recently was dramatized in a movie called The Irishman. I don't know if you saw The Irishman with De Niro.
Yeah, incredible.
Well, Joe Pesci played Russell Buffalino. Anyway.
Okay.
All that to say, that show was there. It just coincided that it was 2 days or 3 days before my episode of soap aired. So if this show was on a Saturday, then a Tuesday is when the soap came on and I was being introduced. So one of the guys said, "It's so great of you to come in. What can we do for you? What can we do for you?" And I'd been told that you never want to owe them a favor, but it's always great to have them owe you a favor. So I said, "Oh, no, it was great." He said, no, something. We got something. I said, "Okay, listen, watch my show. It's coming. It's called Soap. And just watch it. That'd be great." And he said, "Well, yeah, watch, but got to be something else." And I had heard that one letter in a positive note is like 10,000 letters that say I don't like something. So if they get positive letters, it counts much more than people saying I hate it. Okay. So I said, "Well, write a letter. Yeah, write a letter to the show telling me like that character of that I play." He said, oh, so that's good? And I said, "That's really good." He said, "Then you kind of want a lot of letters from all over." And I said, "Yeah, that'd be good." And I didn't think a thing about it. So about the 4th or 5th week that I was on the show, so it took that long, suddenly they deliver at a reading the first of the week, a big sack of mail, a huge sack of mail. Wow. And nobody else had gotten, I mean, everybody got a little bit of mail, but this was like a big sack that was just kind of obnoxious. And so I took it home and I started looking at the names, and it was Teresa Nungiasso from Seattle and somebody from New Jersey. And they were all these Italian names. And they all said, "We loved that character of Chuck and Bob played by Jay Johnson."
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty much all they said. So basically, the producers said, "Wow, we're getting a lot of. We were supposed to write you out, but I think no, we're just going to keep you. So we're going to find another plot where you would get taken out." So I'm hoping that someday some guy for the mob doesn't come and say, "And now you're career to us. We want the puppets back." So, yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. And if I want to keep a job, I just call the mafia and get them to eat.
I don't recommend it as a career choice.
No, I just get them to email in. Oh, wow. Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, controversial.
Steve, how do you carry your characters around? Do you in a suitcase, or do you just take the head and have a head case? What head case is a good thing?
I am a head case. I do have. I have trunks, so some of my characters, they're mainly Muppet-style characters, mine, Jay. I don't have any of the figures, so
gotcha.
I use...
Gotcha, a little bit easier, yeah.
Yeah, I've got an old man called Arthur Largo, and he's foam-related with, like Verna Finley, that.
Sure. Beautiful
so I've got quite a few of those, a lot of them built in the UK now. So, yes, they're mainly in trunks together and kind of... Yeah. Just getting cozy. So
the reason I ask, I had designed because Bob is a ventriloquist figure, and the mechanism is the head's the most important part, as you know. So I had a case that would go under any seat on any airplane, and it was perfectly safe. But I always had, it was like my right hand. I would never turn loose of it. So when we landed for the show for the boys, somebody reached and wanted to take the case. Politely, like, hey, let me take that. And I said, no, that's my name. But oh. And he said, "Oh, that's the goods, huh? And I said, yeah, that's my goods. So the whole weekend it was like, don't touch that. It's the goods. Leave the goods. Hey, leave the goods. Don't take the goods. So
Wow.
I, to this day, refer to that case as the goods. I'm going to take the goods. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, it is the goods, isn't it? I mean, I have had figures where you have to separate the head to the body, and I've taken that with me on flights always, you know. But now my main character, who is called Arthur, I wrap him up. He's in one case and he's always on the flight because, like you say, it's your right hand and I can't let go of him. So
absolutely. I've only done one show where everything didn't arrive as it should, but I did have Bob's head. So I actually did the show and I came up with this totally bogus explanation of what happened rather than say, you know, the body luggage didn't arrive. So I said, you know, in the old days when the king would call the jester in, sometimes he had a head on a stick. Well, this is really the beginning of ventriloquism, and that's what I'm doing tonight. And they went, wow, a piece of history. So they had no idea. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Because the improvisation that you obviously have to come up with that night, you still have to work, right?
Oh, so... yeah. I think this was in the Bahamas. So, you know, there's no, I'll catch a ride home, you know, so.
America has always championed the art of ventriloquism more than they have over the UK. They kind of make fun of it over here still, I think, and
interesting.
Still call it a dying art. But I know they respect it over there as an art hugely, I think. Obviously, you see the proof of Kentucky and the convention, the ventriloquist convention and the museum. So it's always been celebrated more, isn't it? And I think the proof really was even in the 70s and the 80s, the great variety shows that they had. Now I'm going back to, I think this is in the 70s. You appeared on HBO Blockheads. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. HBO was a cable company in New York. We had no idea that it was. I think it was the first variety special they had tried to produce. Yeah.
Wow, that was fantastic. There was Willie Tyler and Chris Kirby on that one. Is that right? Hosted by Mariette Hartley. And you were very young on that show. You were very young and you had a pristine act always.
Well, thanks. It was a long time ago. That was probably my second year in soap, maybe. Yeah. And I'm not sure. I think I still was performing with Squeaky because Bob was a new character for me when I joined soap. And eventually Squeaky had to kind of retire, but lot of fun. It was at the Mayfair Music Hall in Santa Monica, great little theater and great audience. Yeah, great time.
I've only been to the Kentucky convention once, but I bought a whole array of VHS cassettes and I went home and I watched them all in that week. I got home. And also in that collection was the Vent event with Shari Lewis, Willie Tyler, Jimmy Nelson, Edgar Bergen, cream of the crop, and yourself in this show. And you had the guitar in this one, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I called it the guitar act or the Gonzalez act, yeah.
Are you ready? Shut up when I'm talking to you. When he's ready, are you ready? I didn't hear you come up the stairs. I took the elevator. You ready? On the last time. Here we go, guys. Okay? This is it. Get it together, would you please? One more time. All together. Now. Oh, no. Don't let the rain come down. Oh, no. Don't let the rain come down. Oh, no. Don't let the rain come down. My roof's got a hole in it and I might drown. Oh, wait. Shut up, you enchilada eater. Oh, yes, my roof's got a hole in it and I might drown. Donnie Gringo, shut up. He's trying to sing. Thank you. Take it. I will. Yeah. Now, there was a crooked man. Had a crooked smile. I got the hiccups again. We'll do something all that together. What do you do? Stick your head in some water in a crooked little house. Yes, I will. Has a crooked arms. It's a crooked little ass. It's a has a crooked roof with a crooked little bat. Will you shut that guy up? Take it, Donnie. Oh, no. Don't let the rain come down. Oh, no. Don't let the rain come down.
So yeah, it was amazing being with Edgar Bergen. Now Paul Winchell wasn't on that show, and I don't know why. I got to meet Paul Winchell later, but Jimmy Nelson just became my champion. I just always loved him, and he was such a nice man and helped everyone out. I think he started more kids and grown-ups in ventriloquism than anybody. So
with the albums as well. He had out.
Yeah, just a wonderful man, and I think that might have been the last special that Bergen did, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I think he died in 70. 74, 75. Anyway.
Yeah, I believe so. It was just before I was born in 75, I think. So, yeah, it's just such an incredible show. I mean, to see ventriloquists come together on that show as well. You don't see ventriloquists working together like that.
No, hardly ever, yeah.
We had one in the 80s called Guys and Dolls, not the musical, but it was just ventriloquists. There was about 30 ventriloquists on there.
I love the name. I love the name.
I'll have to try and send you some copies. It was some great ventriloquists and some okay ventriloquists, but it's
every career has one.
Yeah, it was great to see you as well. My wife and I got hooked on CSI. We started to watch, and I went, "What is this living doll? There's an episode," and so we watched you, and you cropped up in CSI, which is brilliant.
It was great. Yeah, I got to not play the bad guy, the bad guy's father or bad girl's father, I guess is what it was at this time. So, yeah, that was fun. The other, I was just mentioning this, maybe even yesterday, one of the other episodics I did was a show called Simon and Simon. It was a couple of brothers who were private detectives, and I played the part of the connection between the drug runners and the buyers. And from on stage, my little character that I was working with in this nightclub situation would give the codes, and they would know where it was and all this stuff. And so finally, Simon and Simon figured out, and they come to the club, and I'm doing that, and there's someone that's in the audience, and they say, "Okay, that's it." And they had put an Uzi in the puppet's body, so this gun comes out, and it looks like I'm just spraying the crowd with bullets. Well, they didn't. That was a separate shot, a separate body, and of course, all that stuff. And they said, "We don't fire the gun. That's going to be a problem, and we'll put him under there. So all you have to do is look like your hand is there, and then duck, and we'll do the rest." So I've ducked down on a rehearsal, and the guy's got his hand on this huge gun, and I say, "Is that going to be loud?" And he said, "What?" And I said, "Is that going to be loud? Because it's right by my ear." And the guy takes out earplugs and he says, "Loud." "Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Loud." So I said, "Cut. Just a minute. Hold it. Could I get some earpieces too? Because I'm right here." And they went, "Oh, God. Yes, of course." So thank goodness I thought about that. Yeah, I wouldn't hear you today, I don't think. So.
No, blimey. The things we do for the art of ventriloquism.
Man, yeah. And, I found that every artist has to know your situation, even if it's a situation you've never been before. You really have to take the temperature and figure it out what's best for you and what's going to make it work, because everybody else is doing that for themselves, and they're not always looking out for you,
Yeah.
And so you really have to, and it's not an ego thing. It's just, I know what it takes for me to do this, and I want to do the best I can. So let's all give it the best frame we can,
When you come out of soap, obviously you've got to find work. So a lot of TV bits came in for you now and again, and then you were doing live performances most of the time. So it definitely upped your profile, which must have been
definitely
great to come out.
And at that time, comedy clubs started. They started, and in America, there at one time must have been 2 comedy clubs in every major market, and everybody started out as the MC, and then they would get enough material to become the middle act, and then they would have enough material to become the headliner. And since I had name recognition, I just stepped into the headliner role. So the amount of talent that is open for me in a comedy club is from Jay Leno to David Letterman to Gallagher to Gary Shandling to you can name almost anybody that started during that time. And probably we did a week together.
Wow, in the 80s, that's where these people, like Seinfeld, that's where they all
Seinfeld, Jerry was
teeth.
there.
Yeah. So that's an amazing history of Robin Williams, even doing those.
Oh yeah. Robin followed us on soap. Mark came the second year of soap, so we had been on a year, and he was the new face, and no one to this day has seen anything like him come around. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, we miss him dearly. You mentioned earlier, Jay, about David Letterman. Now he obviously must have known David from the comedy club, so when he started Ventriloquist Week, that must have been again a good profile for your show. So how was that? Because he used 5 ventriloquists in one week, and again, best of the best.
I've never had anyone confirm this, although the talent recruiter kind of hinted at it. But my belief is that I was about to open on Broadway. In fact, I think I did Ventriloquist Week night before our actual opening night on Broadway. So it worked out great for us. But we were pushing the Letterman show so I could get on for that very reason. And at the same time, Jeff Dunham was going on a tour, and his publicist was pushing the Letterman people to get him on the show.
Okay.
And one night, I think that David just said, we had to have a ventriloquist week. And he said that on the air, and they got so many letters that then it wasn't a joke anymore. Then they had to really set it up. Then first they wanted like bad ventriloquists. They wanted, and then the people said, no, you can't. You can't lampoon that. You have to get people that really know what they're doing. So, so yeah, it was, again, kind of lucked into that one.
With David Letterman. Tonight from Grey's Anatomy, Patrick Dempsey. Musical group Kasabian. And Ventriloquist Week continues with Jay Johnson and Darwin. Plus, earlier tonight on Broadway. See, we're not kidding around. Our first guest was on Broadway earlier tonight in his own show entitled The Two and Only. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jay Johnson and Darwin. Thank you very much. Thank you, David. This is a monkey from my Broadway show, and the monkey is a very unusual animal. It's very curious. I think the fact is the monkey is not as intelligent as people might think. Actually, it has a brain capacity of a 5-year-old child. Human brain is about 5 times larger. We are into conceptual thinking, whereas the monkey is simply into instinctive behavior and simply does what it sees others doing. The sound that a monkey makes is actually a primitive form of language, and they can use body language and I'm sorry. Thank
And I mean, it's all up on YouTube, so people can go and see you on YouTube doing Ventriloquist Week on the Letterman show. And it just turned out better than they hoped that it would turn out.
Yeah,
People
they did a
loved
second
it.
time around too. Yeah,
Yeah.
they did a second week later. David never was a real warm and open person. I mean, he's nice enough, but you don't get touchy-feely and you don't get to hang out. And I think the only time we really spoke was at the end of my act, and we went way back. It wasn't that we didn't know each other, just very busy.
Ice and Steve.
Before we talk about the two and only, were there any other career paths that you wanted to take, or was ventriloquism always your main goal? Because for me, it's all I've ever known since I was 12. So, and I've gone no other way in 35 years. I love the art of what we put out there. So did you ever think I need to go and do this, or was it always Jay Johnson is a ventriloquist?
I think I was always a ventriloquist. What I really still love to do is I still love to act, and I thought I had my acting chops over here and ventriloquism chops over here. And then soap comes along and get to do them both at exactly the same time, which again, luckiest man in the world here. So yeah, so I thought, well, maybe I'll do parts and I'll be one of those utility actors and that'd be great. But because of my identity with Bob from soap, if there was a ventriloquist part that came around, I got the first call. But in an open call, I'm just competing against guys that have done this all their life, and so didn't do as many as I wanted to. But all of that time, my real desire was to do a theatrical show, a show in real time, in a real audience with real people, because television, you have real people that those laughters, that laughter is real anymore because they've enhanced and done it and moved it and chopped it stuff. So there's just nothing like, as you know, performing live in a venue that's supposed to have a live audience and show,
So it's always been a vision for you, really, to put the theatrical side of ventriloquism together. And so did it take a few years until you actually thought, right, I'm going to write this show now and get it on the road? No, did you expect it was going to be the success that it is?
No, no. I mean,
No.
you hope that somebody will
Of
like it.
course.
It was I always mentioned it to people anytime I would run into somebody that knew something about theater. I would go, yeah, I want to do this one man show, and they would say, oh, that's great, you should do that. And then I wouldn't hear back from them. And so all my life I was trying to find it, but I didn't know what it was. I just knew I wanted to make a show that was appropriate for that venue, a theater. And so I was doing a benefit for two people that I had known, but two actors. They had to put this benefit together. And after the show, they said, wow, we think you ought to do a one-man show. And I said, wow, I've been saying that for a very long time. And it's just, it hasn't happened. And they said, well, maybe we can help you. And I said, well, I appreciate it, but I've been told that a lot of times too, and it never did work out. So they said, okay, we're going to meet every week till we get it, till we do it. And we did. We met, told stories. After about a year of doing this, I still didn't know what the show was. I had told every story that I knew and done every act that I ever done for these two people in a rehearsal hall. And that's where it was. So Murphy, the female part of this team, said, what will it take to get this show, whatever it is, up and going? And I said, well, the way I work is probably somebody's going to call and say, we have a theater in 2 weeks. We've booked it and you better be ready. And so she called back and she said, well, it's not quite like I thought. We have a theater in 6 weeks and you better be ready. So I now panicked. I didn't know what, but I took all the notes that we had, and I was on a cruise ship, and the time you have on a cruise ship is limitless. and so I sat in my cabin and had those actor dreams about walking on stage and having nothing to do and totally naked on stage and everything. And it just all these notes kind of looked at me, and they sort of formed a couple of acts, and they were related. And then I realized, well, that relates to this if you relate that. And so over the 2 weeks I was at sea, I think I wrote the entire tune only, and it was pretty much word for word as it is today. Yeah.
Wow. There's nothing like a deadline, is there, Jay?
That's the way I work, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because there's no excuse at that point. Yeah. There's no waiting. Yeah.
No, when the tickets are being sold, you have no choice. And so
Exactly.
I'm the same. I just finished rewriting my show. I've got a 2-hour show I'm putting out in 24 theaters over the next 3 months, and I've got a month now to get it in my head. I don't know it yet, so I've got that nightmare and that nakedness on stage.
Oh yeah, isn't it wonderful?
yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. You've got over the other side of that.
Well, it really was that. Just to finish the story about Murphy and Paul, they were just the perfect people for me. They're still my best friends. We still hang out together. They're kind of between New York and LA. I see them as much as I can. But we just wanted to get it to New York so that we thought we'd have some credibility so we could continue to do it. That was really, so we got a little off-Broadway theater, and then they kept saying Broadway, and I was like, okay, we'll go to Broadway. And then a Tony Award was not, I wasn't even sure we were able to have a category. And it was a special category that they did have. But yeah, it was just from that moment on, it was just a dream. It was just terrific. The show kind of became alive on its own. It took its own path and taught me more than I did. Yeah.
It truly is incredible. I was watching it again today because I have the DVD here, which you can get on your website. Yeah. It's such a beautiful piece of biographical, entertaining, very funny, clever, very poignant as well. But it's a masterpiece of comedy, acting, and ventriloquism all in one.
Well, thank you, Steve.
I mean that from my heart. And when it was advertised that you were coming to London, I bought tickets the day that I saw that, and I watched your last performance.
You were the one, I think, that did. Yeah.
No, it was just wonderful. I'm so gutted that it didn't have any advertising over here in London. It should have been on television. And did they not give you any of the chat shows? We only had a few over here at the time, I guess. But anyway, what I saw was just stunning. I was in the standing ovation at the end, but it was an hour and a half of just class. It was I'm so glad I got to see it live. That's all I can say. And it's still going on now. But how was your time in London, Jay? Because it was a well received here with the reviews.
It was. I think, and I don't necessarily read reviews. In fact, I don't read reviews, but someone brought this to my attention because I thought it was kind of appropriate for what happened in London. We were scheduled to stay much longer. They just ran out of money. And one of the reviews came out after we had closed, and this reviewer said, closing before I could give a review about this wonderful show is an example of nincompoop producing. So I wouldn't say the guy's name, but they had thought that the minute the doors open, we'll be making money and they could put the money back in. And that's, a show never works that way. You have to have enough to keep it open. So if it's going to be word of mouth, people have to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, I was ready for the run, but it only lasted a few weeks, and I was sorry about that. Loved London. Loved it.
Yeah. Should have called the Mafia.
Yeah, exactly. Where was Louis when I needed him?
Yeah.
What can we do for you over there?
Yeah. I was gutted. I think I saw your last performance, and I could see the emotion in your performance at the end, and I knew how much it meant to you, even with the crew, and you were thanking the crew, and I was tearing up, and I know how much that feels for a show to close anytime, but thank you for bringing it over, because it was a huge part of my childhood, and I loved
Steve.
it. Absolutely loved
I appreciate it. That makes my day, because you never know when something is kind of, you see what could have happened and it didn't. So you think of it as more of a disappointment to yourself than inspiring people. But thank you. That makes me feel great.
Yeah, no, it wasn't at all a disappointment, and it's still going on. And you did it just last week. You performed it in the Magic Theatre, and you're still performing this very show. Is this going to keep going on? And is there Netflix? Maybe can it go on Netflix?
I don't know. Once we filmed it, if they would film it again, I don't know. But I would tell this story and do this show forever. If you gave me a theater tomorrow, I would do the 8 shows a week and not worry about it. So. At this point, we don't have the big set. And for a while, we thought, you can't do the show if it's not that lighting plot and that set. You can't do it. And you realize, no, the story is the story. So I'm able to tell the story and do the show with just minimal stuff that I can put in the back of the car and take it to the theater. So any chance I had to do that, I'll do it. And the Magic Theater, Marvin says Palm Springs, that's about 2 hours away. And I'm going to do Laguna in August, and that's probably 2 hours away. So, yeah, it's all. I would do it. If you got a theater, I'm coming. So there.
Yeah, amazing. I love the set. How did you come up with the set with the suitcases up the back of the stage and across the stage? Such a wonderful thing. You think, is he going to use every case? Is there a character in every case? You had us wondering the whole time, but it is magical. How do you remember where they are, in which order?
Well, more cases than puppets, so I just had to think about a few there. I'm not sure. I always had that concept of trunks. I always loved theatrical trunks, and I always thought that would make a good set. In my mind, I kind of picture them as Legos, and they would form something. And Beowulf Boritt, who was our suit designer, came up with that scoop set and going up and flying into heaven, and the suitcase turns green at the end. So, yeah, it just it was just one of those things. And also Arthur Sieving, who I talk about in the thing, he was very sure that puppets belonged in a case, to protect them like an instrument.
Yeah.
So that was kind of drilled into me. So you can't talk about ventriloquism for me unless you're talking about what kind of road cases. And I think we already did, right? I already asked you. What kind of case
yeah. So, no, that's true. I found out in many documentaries they try and find the eccentricity of a ventriloquist and the craziness, the magic, like Anthony Hopkins. And are we all crazy or strange people? They try and always put a twist on it. But I believe, and I think I can say this without being non-modest, we are very talented, clever people, I think, rather than, not all of us are eccentric, and I say there are some out there, but you are a very talented, gifted man. You're an actor, you're a performer, and performers, we're just true to our art, isn't it? So that's what we're given, really. So why do you think they try and twist the ventriloquist mind, in a lot of the movies that they depict?
I think that a lot to do with it has the fact that there is, and I don't know that there's a name for it. I think phobia of a clown is
automatnophobia, is it?
something. Yes, what is ultimate? Yeah. Anyway, there's a name for clown phobia. I don't know that there is for a ventriloquist puppet. I think there might be one for the dolls. Anyway, I think that just a doll that seems to be living on its own is kind of creepy to a lot of people, and I get it.
Yeah.
So if you can look for a villain, and you want to kind of keep his villainy a secret for a minute, okay, who is that? Wait, he works with a puppet. And in your mind, you immediately associate that with some dark and sinister motive, and he must not be quite right. So I think it was more convenience for lazy writers, way back when. What are we going to do about this villain? Let's make him a ventriloquist. Yeah. We could make him an accountant. Yeah, but all accountants are nuts. We don't have to do that. So anyway, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I've seen the one with called Dummy with Adrian Brody playing a ventriloquist, and that's kind of a tongue-in-cheek one where I think he's about to get mugged, and he uses ventriloquism to divert the guy at the end, and they take the gun.
Wonderful to do,
yeah, in real life, yeah. Well, Jay Johnson, this has been absolutely exciting for me. I really, really appreciate your time. You've taken me back to age 12, and I'm 47 now, but you've made me feel like a little boy tonight. I really appreciate you being on the final season of Eyes and Teeth. It's going to be very special. I hope we get to meet one day. It'll be nice in person. So.
Me too. And the museum has got a new building now. They've just built the building, and it's going to open in May. Oh, wow. And it's absolutely beautiful. They've finally done it right. So,
I can't
so
wait.
Vinhaven has taken a whole new look. So
so
incredible. Hope we get you over here.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to plug my book next year at the convention, so fingers crossed I can get that finished. And you're going to get a copy, by the way. So thanks for that interview as well. I appreciate that.
And Steve, if I can help, promote that or just make people aware of it, whatever you need me to do, because more good books about good ventriloquism need to be out there, and I want to be part of it. So let me help if I can.
Oh, that means a lot. Bless you. But to have you on here has meant a lot to me. Thank you so much for your time. Jay Johnson.
Steve, glad to be in the fraternity with you, my friend. It's in good hands with you.
Thank you. You have a great day, Jay, and thank you for your time.
You too. See you soon.
Right. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Eyes and Teeth.
Many thanks to Jay Johnson for his time on today's show, the world's greatest variety show. For any inquiries, bookings, or contact, you can find Jay on his website at www.monkeyjoke.com. You can also find him on Facebook. Today's quote comes from ventriloquist inventor and voice actor Paul Winchell. Children are so used to seeing puppets that when they see a real ventriloquist, they don't understand it. Thank you, Winch. Eyes and Teeth is written, produced and hosted by Steve Hewlett. Vocals by Lola, Larissa and Nina Hewlett. Additional vocals by Rich T. The Eyes and Teeth music and jiggles are produced and performed by Kevin Dean. Join me next time on Eyes and Teeth as we nearly wrap up this series, when I will be talking to my mum, Sharon Hewlett, about my childhood and her experience of when I first picked up that puppet. See you next time.